Yo, what up, fam? It's your boy Sid, the RC guy, and Tom, the slot car guy. Tell him how we doing.
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome.
All right.
Because I took a ride in a, I have to admit, fun and fast car. So many of you may not know the backstory. I give this gentleman as much grief as I can. He drives a Ford Mustang. I'm a Chevy guy, so of course, anytime I get a chance to rib him, I have to. And he was like, well, we've got to go to my house, do these videos. Do you want to ride in a real car? Obviously, because my Sound XB isn't a real car. And I got to hand it to him. The car's fast, it's fun, it's loud, so it's cool. So he obviously is a huge Mustang guy. As you guys can tell, he's got tons and tons of models. So we're kind of trying to get in the mind of the slot car guy. He's got a phenomenal track. He's got really cool cars he's collected for a while. And he's got the ultimate basement, man cave to work on stuff. And you were telling me that you have guys come down once a week?
Yeah, every Wednesday, 3 Wednesdays a month we come down. We run a series for a couple hours a night. We usually get anywhere from 6 to, we've had up to 13 people on Wednesday nights.
Wow.
It's good fun, real good fun. It's nothing, there's no prizes or anything. It's just kind of for bragging rights. But it's always fun, and we do change classes we race 3 weeks, take a week off, to run another class. But yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Plus we have our clubs that run down here too. So, but it's all non-magnet racing, so there's a lot of tuning involved, and it's just good fun to get together and have some fun.
Nice. So how long have you been doing the slot car thing?
Oh man, I got my first set in 1962. It was an Eldon Selectronic set. It was almost like the digital sets of today. You could change lanes, but it had a cord that went from the controller, so you had to do that. So it wasn't. But it was a lot of fun. I didn't have that for long. Then I moved up to a Strombecker set. I had probably 100 feet of track in my basement when I was in my teens, and then I got away from it for a while. Other things got in the way. I went in the service and was chasing girls and
good old life.
And all that stuff. Life kind of got in the way. I had a lot of fun, but I got back into this probably around 25 years ago, and I've been hot and heavy ever since.
So I'm hoping you say yes, but I have a strange feeling it's going to be no. Do you have the original set?
I don't. Oh. I bought it from the owner of Colpar a few years ago. He had an Eldon Selectronic set. I still got the cars from it, but nice. I don't have the track and the controllers or anything. I think it was just, I didn't have any room for it. I didn't know what to do with it, so I think I gave it to a friend of mine. But I do have a couple of the cars that came with the set, though. So
nice. So you are also an avid model builder, as we can tell. You've built phenomenal models. Do you also build slot cars? Because I know somebody told me that you can take certain slot cars and the sizing, and you can build them as a slot car.
I have. I've got a few over there. We can show you real quick if you wanted to do that. But
yeah, definitely.
We'll take some of the plastic kits. A lot of people will take the 24 scale kit. Some of the guys that do drag racing will take a 24 scale body and build brass chassis, and then they drag race with them. And it's there's a lot of people out there that do that. Unfortunately, people that first get in or just getting into it now aren't really builders. They're kind of a, I want to do it right now kind of thing. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But building is really fun. I like to do it. I've got other people that want me to build stuff for them too. So when I find the time.
We'll take a wander over there and check out some of the 124 scales and some of the custom builds he's got.
Okay.
All right, guys. We're here with one of the custom builds that Tom has here amongst some of the other builds he's got. But this one, tell me about this one.
This started as a Tamiya NSX plastic model kit. I had to do a few modifications to it to get this is a TSRF chassis, a 24 scale chassis, pre-built chassis. I've done a little bit of work to it. I changed the motor, changed the braids in it. They're kind of tiny right now, but I put different wheels on it with I think they're the correct inserts for this particular car. I had to build a mounting system inside here. I glued some plastic inside, and I just drilled the hole so I could mount the chassis. And these are just a couple pieces of aluminum tubing for the exhaust. But unfortunately, our clubs don't run a lot of 24 scale. But I get it out every once in a while just to play with it because they're just fun to play with. So
nice.
The cars in the case here, with the exception of these two, these are current pre-built cars. These were all vintage. They're about 50 years old, 45 to 50 years old. Some of them I did restore. These down here I've restored. The other ones kind of came like they are, but I've just kind of cleaned them up a little bit. But yeah, like I say, I wish we did a little bit more 24 scale in the clubs, and maybe we will down the road, but I still like them and I'll keep them. So
Definitely. So let's. I'll go ahead and let you put that away, and let's talk about this magnificent track. I'm going to get it repositioned, and we'll show you guys this awesome track he's got.
All right.
So Tom, tell us about this track we got here.
This is on an 8x24 table. It's Carrera track. It's about 90, right around 90 feet of two-lane Carrera track. It's been painted. It's been copper taped. It runs on a adjustable Loco DS 400 power supply with 2 Professor motor controllers. I painted it just because it looks a little bit, well, actually you get better traction with the paint that I have on there. And it's kind of cool because if you get closer to it in a couple other spaces, you can actually see where the rubber, has just made some marks on the track now through here, especially on the straights. The copper tape helps because we run a lot of vintage cars, obviously, which draw a lot of amps, and a lot more amps than some of the current cars. Now, before I copper taped it, if you tried to run a car around here, a vintage car around here, it would really drag. It would slow down in spots. I have a couple power taps, which are wires that run from the power supply to other parts of the track to kind of keep the power uniform. But the vintage cars would run great where the power taps were, but then they would just really dog it around the rest of the track. The copper tape solves all the power issues. There are no issues at all. Everything runs the same speed around the track. It's just the best way to go with especially with a big track like this. It's a real simple table. I've got 6 feet by 30-inch folding tables underneath. I took half-inch press board and bolted that to the tables. There's 2x2s around the outside and between each of the 4x8s to stabilize the board and make it flat. And then I laid down 5/16 worth of foam core on the track. I laid the track down on it and cut around it, and it sets down inside the foam core just to make it even. As you know, it looks a little bit more realistic as opposed to just having the track stick up from the table about that far. So, yeah, I know I'm a little anal about that, but I want it to look realistic. I know there's not a lot of tracks with a crossover like that, but it kind of helps. It makes the tracks, the lanes a little bit more even, which isn't really a big factor in my book. I mean, because when you're playing around, it doesn't matter. When you're racing, you race all the lanes, so having equal lanes isn't really that important. Again, I like the realism, and I have a nice little pit area with some older buildings. I scratch built this. It's my timing and scoring building, the one that says Firestone on top. That's a scratch built building. The piece on top is a modified old scale electric piece. And these are all lit too. There's actually a little pool table inside there with little balls on it and everything. And it's always a work in progress. I put more trees up and I'll move some around but technically it's done. But I add more, like I say, I add more trees here. In fact, I've got some to put on this weekend. All the barriers are made of half-inch foam. They work very well. They're very sturdy. In fact, the car will hit it and bounce off it. So it's very rare the car will go through the foam. There's some old vintage Strombecker fencing around here. And yeah, this is, we bought this house just because this basement is almost 1,500 square feet. So that was one of the major reasons we bought it, so I'd have my toy room. So. But yeah, it's a very enjoyable place to be. It's cool in the summer, it's warm in the winter. Just a lot of fun down here.